Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and today I'm back with a video which is similar to what I did earlier this year when I was looking back at the month before and how my reading had been, how the channel had been and stuff like that, and then the month going forward. And what I'm going to do today is kind of talk about, well, not kind of talk about, I hope. It's going to be tangential and you might want a cup of tea, so you might want to pause, get that cuppa and then come back because who knows? I haven't filmed for quite a while and I'm a little bit rusty, I won't lie. Anyway, what I'm going to do, instead of talking about how September was and how October is going to be, I thought I would talk about how summer was and what some of my autumn plans are. And then if you like this, I'll bring this back monthly, maybe from October. I was going to say from 2023, but why wait? If you like it, let me know. It's nice to have a few monthly staple videos, I think. And I might mix it up with like what I've read in the previous month and how many books I've bought and how much I read out of them and a few more stats. Or would you prefer that to be a quarterly thing? Or do you not really like stats at all? Let me know all of that in the comments down below and anything else that I think of to ask you during this video. So, summer is over and all we are is apart, as the great Steps sang. And I did love Steps. Oh, love, past tense, they're still going. But yeah, summer has been and gone. I love autumn. The jumpers are out. This is actually a new jumper that I got yesterday for £9 in the sales at Next. I'm absolutely in love. It's a bit Mondrian-y, sort of. Yeah, and I love autumn. It's when I feel the most me. I think I'm feeling it even more because over the last few months I have been pretty ill on and off because during the summer I went and got COVID, not once but twice, because I was around over 40,000 people over the space of like 12 weeks for my day job, Story Trails, which is coming to an end. I finish on Story Trails at the beginning of November. So I guess that's another reason that I'm sort of looking backward and looking forward. And summer was a bit of a one, if I'm honest, not just because of being so sick, because I sadly got chest infections after both bouts of COVID, the second and third, but I just didn't do as much reading as I thought I would do. And I was kind of beating myself up about it. And I need to stop that because, one, what's the point of beating yourself up? You know, life's too short. But also, there's a weird thing that I think I'm feeling where reading is meant to be fun. And I think sometimes, I've not forgotten that because I still enjoy reading, but I think sometimes it becomes almost like a space filling exercise. Does that sound really weird and make me sound like a fraud or something? But you know what I mean? I sometimes feel like I'm needing to pick up the book just to be picking up a book and reading. And I think sometimes I felt, and that's why I think there was less content over the summer, because I had a word with myself, that I was reading for the channel, not just reading and then the channel being about what I happen to have read when and where. And I'm definitely carrying that forward with me. But in terms of like books that I read some absolute corkers, and then I read some that weren't so great. And that's been quite interesting and kind of now looking back over the summer and thinking, do I want to do a wrap up? Because there's some books I would really like to champion. And then there's some books that I don't know if I'd have too much to say about them now, or if I'm really that fussed about talking about them, which I suppose in itself, it shouldn't be. A channel should never be about just sharing the books that you want everyone else to read and that you're really, really excited about. It should be about like your whole reading journey, as I was saying, but not your reading journey being about creating content for a channel. But yeah, I think I've expected, because I was doing so many train journeys, because I had like so much time in hotels in my head, well I did, but I forgot about like socialising and doing work on trains and all that kind of stuff. And so I was thinking I was going to race through like 100 and something books over the summer. And I think I read 15 maybe, a push. I haven't actually worked it all out properly. I've left Goodreads and I'm now on Storygraph, but I'm just doing Storygraph for myself this year, which is a good thing because I've let it go to absolute waste. It's a wasteland. It's higgledy-piggledy and all over the shop and a little bit. And I think maybe that's affected me a bit, as has the library, which has been a bit of a mess. You might spot a few things have moved around and stuff behind me. I had a massive sort out the other day and have decided that going forward I'm not going to be making the sorting out the shelves video for the rest of this year, and actually I might combine that a little bit with this sort of video if you want me to do this monthly. And any ideas on how I can do that sort of stuff, I'm always open to them, because who doesn't like listening to people give them advice on stuff? Well, no, who doesn't like people giving them advice when they've asked for it? There's a big difference, as social media doesn't seem to understand. Anyway, moving on, slight bit of snarkier this autumn. Anyway, so yeah, so the summer kind of, I've got mixed feelings about it as well, because I was so, like, the summer has been, because I've been going around like all the libraries leading up to this big summer, and then the summer being about going to these 15 different libraries over 15 weeks, and doing this amazing augmented reality and virtual reality based on content created by people's stories from where we went. I kind of felt in my head and sort of felt like I was promising, but I think I was only promising it to myself, or suggesting it to myself, or beating myself up that I needed to do it. I should have filmed every place we went and got loads. But again, like, even when we went to some of these places, we barely got any time in them, apart from to obviously work, where we were doing like 10, 11 hour days. And so I think me pre-summer thought that I was just going to have this summer of like amazing vlogs travelling around the country and getting loads of footage with all the librarians and the libraries and all that kind of stuff, forgetting that councils need permissions and things like that, let alone the fact that some people might not want to be filmed, and the fact that it was a bit of a quieter reading summer for me has kind of just left me with these odd feelings about it. So I've got a couple of videos that I made over the summer that I haven't used yet. One is when I was in well, I stayed in Bath after Bristol, and between Bristol and, was it after Newport? I think it was after Newport, before Bristol. Or did I go home? This is the thing, it's been such a whirlwind, I can't even remember. But I've got 2 weeks worth of footage where I was reading books that I was buying in bookshops, which I was going to edit and put up tomorrow, because it is Books Are My Bag Day in the UK, which is like a celebration of bookshops, and I'll talk about it a little bit more shortly, because they've sent me one of the shortlists for their Books in My Bag Readers Awards, which is very, very exciting. Anyway, I was going to do that, but again, and I was actually going to film this yesterday on Thursday, but I just wasn't quite in the mood. And one thing I really want to do going forward is only really share stuff that or only film when I want to film, and only share stuff that I really, really want to share. And if that means that I film something and I'm like, oh no, I don't think so afterwards, not be like, oh God, I must choose it, I must, because I don't think the world's going to change if I don't. But also, I think it is about creating content when I'm in the mood. And I tried a lot over the summer, but it was just so stop and start. I think I could probably make a 2-hour video, and if you want this, I'll do it. You're insane if you want it, but I can do it. Of all the almost vlogs that I made, if I like whack them all together, maybe that would cover the whole summer. But I could possibly do the vlog of those 2 weeks where I was in Bristol, Bath, Swindon and Slough. I'm trying to think if I was anywhere else at that point, where I literally bought books as I went. It was quite an interesting, for me, I don't know if it'd be necessarily interesting for you, experiment as to, could I live without a TBR? Could I have a 0 TBR? I mean, imagine. So there's that. And I also did a sort of travel vlog of 3 days in Bath. So maybe I'll share those over the autumn. But there's part of me that also, a bit like with wrap-ups, because I haven't done any wrap-ups for the last 7 months, and this happened last year as well, actually, and I wasn't so busy, so I don't know if it's just wrap-ups in general, but I haven't done one over the summer because I think I've just got mixed feelings about it. I think I feel like I let myself down over the summer by not reading enough and getting ill and not doing all the 15 libraries over the summer like I was meant to, and so there's this sort of bittersweet feeling about it. Like, I'm seeing the whole team this weekend and I'm really, really looking forward to it, so I don't feel like, I don't know, I just feel a bit like that. So would you like to see the only buying books in bookshops and reading them vlog? It might not appear this weekend now, because so far I haven't edited it. It's a whacking great amount of content. Not obviously as much as the whole 2-hour one would be over all of the vlogs that I started and stopped and didn't finish and whatever. If you want me to compile that again, let me know in the comments down below. But they might not appear for a while. And the other thing that I've decided to do, which I sort of went against earlier in October, was I think I'm probably I might do 3 videos a week sometimes. I said I was going to from October, but I think I'm just going to do two for now and see how it goes. I'm quite enjoying doing them as premieres. I don't know if you all are, in terms of being able to chat with you in the comments like I'm hopefully going to be doing with this one. But yeah, I feel like that was sort of a really, I don't know, I feel like I need to put a pin in summer 2022 and sort of move on a bit. And that could mean just cutting all the content that I made up to now, or it could mean that I just use a few bits of it later in the year if I have a time where I'm a bit too busy and can't film, which could happen because I've got some serious plans over the autumn. And before we go into those, I guess I'll talk about what's going on now. And right now, I am currently in the midst of reading the Booker Prize shortlisted books. They're actually just there. And then we have the Reading Prize shortlisted books. Now, because there's a situation going on with Readings, the independent bookshop in Australia, and their staff and unions are involved. And I believe it's over like terms and conditions and pay and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do a reading vlog of that selection, and I am going to hold off buying any books from Readings. I bought one more selection, which will arrive probably in the next week or so, so will be in my October book haul at the end of this month. But that's it. I'm going to hold fire until everything gets sorted out, because yeah, I believe in staff in all places being paid the right wage and also having the right benefits and conditions and all those kind of things. So yeah, without getting involved in it, I just wanted, because I've had lots of comments from lots of you lovely lot letting me know about it, and I have gone and read more about it and stuff. Anyway, there's that. But as well as reading the Booker books, which will be a reading vlog coming, and me and Mum are going to be doing a video which will go on her channel, Louise Savage Muses, of our thoughts and our like ranking order. I'm actually going to the Booker Prize shortlist party. No, I missed that one. I'm good as well because I've got to meet some fabulous booktubers. And apparently Marlon James was there. I mean, I've met him once before, but I wouldn't mind meeting him again. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to the Booker finale, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's a week on Monday, so that's something I've got planned. But because O. William is one of the shortlisted books, I'm slowly also making a reading vlog, 2 reading vlogs at once, interesting, of me reading through the Lucy Barton books. I have all 4 of them now. I'm on to this one, and I'm not going to tell you what I think because I want you to wait and see that video, frankly, although it might come out after the book one, so you might get a hint as to what I make of O. William, but I haven't got to that yet, so I can't give anything away. But yeah, so I'm reading those at the moment. Lovely folk at Penguin very kindly sent me them. Other reading that I've got on the horizon after the Booker is very little apart from some events and other bookish things that I've got going on, because what I really want to do, I think, with my reading over the final 3 months of the year, well, 2.5, is to head to books that I've meant to get to this year that I haven't. There are quite a few of my favourite authors who've had books out that I haven't got to yet. Kate Atkinson's I can think of. I'm trying to think of others. There are some, they're not quite in my brain right now. Also, non-fiction November. I want to get a good TBR for that, because my reading of non-fiction this year has been blinking awful, like really bad. So we've got that. But yeah, I want to definitely be more Wimmish, and I think in 2023 I would like to read much more by Wim. I mean, if we get a full series of Sky Arts book club, I will obviously need to read the books for that, but I have no plans to like judge any prizes. I'm not saying that I wouldn't say yes if I got asked, but I just feel like I've said it quite a lot actually, and I will really want to discover the reader that I am, because I feel like I'm a bit, not rabbit in the headlights exactly, but like I would love to be able to say this is a Simon book and these are the sort of books that I love now, and without talking about myself in third person because that's a bit weird, but you know what I mean, and I feel like I'm not quite there yet. Anyway, so I'm currently reading as well at the moment, and I was umming about whether I should make this like an unofficial thing for me this autumn, but I've been reading Agatha Christie, Marple, which is not actually written by Agatha Christie at all. It's 12 new mysteries by authors such as Natalie Haynes, Ruth Ware, Kate Moss, Jean Kwok, Naomi Alderman, Bob McDermott, Doretta Say Mitchell. I could go on. And whilst I won't say this is necessarily what overall as a collection for me. More thoughts on this in my October wrap up, because I am planning on bringing October's back. No, they've never gone. I'm planning on bringing wrap-ups back from the end of October, and maybe doing like, should I do a summary one, like the books that I really loved, or should I see all? I'm looking at them now. It's just such a mixed bag, and like some of them I'm just feel absolute meh about, and others I'm like, oh, I really should have told you all about those. I'm really sad that I haven't. Oh, it's a dichotomy. Anyway, back to this. I was thinking, because this collection might not necessarily have worked for me overall so far, I am definitely feeling in the mood to get back to Agatha Christie, and particularly Miss Marple. And these covers have done, or this cover, and now all of the Miss Marples have been reissued in America with matching covers where there is a silhouette of, or an outline of Miss Marple's face somewhere on here, on each of them, by Holly Dunn. They're amazing. I'm kind of really in the mood, especially because also my friend Sophie Ward, the actress and author, is in a Miss Marple play on tour, and I'm going to go and see her in 2 weeks in that. So yeah, I just feel like there's something in the air for Marple. That's what also is going on. But books that I've got planning going forward are, I have started a book club over on my Patreon, and we're going to be reading at the beginning of, well, we're going to be reading throughout October and then discussing, on the 2nd of November, Vera by Elizabeth von Arnim, which I've heard compared to Rebecca, which could be an amazing thing, or it could be a bit of a, to compare something to someone's favourite book, it can go a dark path if it doesn't work out, doesn't it? So who knows where it'll go. Please, no spoilers about this in the comments down below. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to probably save it towards the end of the month because I want it fresh in my mind before I talk with all of my lovely fellow Patreon book clubbers about it. But yeah, my Patreon's always linked down below if you want to get involved. And currently they are voting on, in fact, no, next week, people in that Patreon group will be voting for what title we're going to be reading in December. So there's that. Also, hopefully what is coming back is Crime Time with Pip. And we went shopping together, and I bought us both a copy of The It Girl, Ruth Ware's latest book. Me and Pip really like Ruth Ware. I know people feel all sorts of different ways about Ruth Ware's writing, but I really like it and really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to this one. And she's moved publishers, which is quite interesting in my head. Might not be, again, for anyone else out there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Now, we were hoping to do it in October. It might be more likely to be November. It depends on whether Liverpool gets Eurovision or not, which I'm hoping it does. But if it does, Pip is one of the people leading on the bid. And if they get it, obviously leading on the project. So she's just going to get super duper busy. So I don't want to promise anything definite until we know exactly what's going to be what and what our workloads are like and stuff. Because my workload is going to be kind of going down because I finished this project that I'm working on at the beginning of November. And then, well, I was all ready for a sabbatical. That might not quite happen now, but I can't say for why, because secrets and HR and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all up in the air. But either I'll be on a sabbatical or I'll be on very much part-time with a different project. And other than that, I'll just be doing events and stuff. And actually that leads nicely to some other things I'm going to be, either doing event-wise or reading. The first event that I've got coming up in the autumn is with Damon Galgut in Liverpool on Tuesday next week at Waterstones. We'll be talking about The Promise, which won the book last year, and I read earlier this year to do an interview with him for Sky Arts Book Club Extra, which is a weekly show I present on Sky Arts Book Club Facebook group, which is always linked down below. And please, the more of you that are a part of that group, the more likely we are to get a season 4, and I would love that because I blinking love it. Anyway, me and Damien had a great chat about this book because I bloody loved it. I've since read The Quarry, which I also really loved, and then this weekend I'm off to London for sort of a big screening as part of Story Trails in Covent Garden, and also the sort of wrap party and getting to see everyone, which I'm really excited about. But because of the train being cancelled, I've got some serious coach journeys ahead. We're talking 6 to 7 hours, and so I'm going to be taking his short story collection, which is just behind me on my, you can't see, there's a row of books there that were all the books that I mentioned in my autumn TBR. So I'm trying to get through books, and actually once I've got through these, and now I don't know what I'm going to quite do with those, that's where my non-fiction November books will all go, because I've kind of put 12 aside that I would like to get to. Anyway, the short story collection is right out of Small Circle of Beings. That's what it's called, Small Circle of Beings. So I'm going to hopefully read that over the weekend. I just love his writing. I've really fallen in love with, like, I was going to say a new favourite author, but that sounds a bit odd before I see him next week. But I love his writing. I think there's a great comedy to it. There's a great vibrancy to it, but also it's really blinking gothic and quite depressing in some ways. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. Then on the 16th, Sunday the 16th, I am going to be in conversation with Taylor Jenkins Reid about Carrie Soto is back, so I need to get on with reading that next week, and possibly a couple of other Taylor Jenkins Reid. Interestingly, I have a quote in Malibu Rising. I've never read that book. I think they've taken it possibly from a haul where I said that, I can't remember what the quote was, but I think that's the one they've used. Anyway, and then in November, as part of the Chester Literary Festival, I will be talking to Jodie Picou and Jennifer Finney Boylan about Mad Honey. So yeah, I'll probably talk to you more about that at the end of October, beginning of November, if I do one of these monthly, if that's what you want. If you don't, I won't, but I'm sure I'll talk about it at some other point. So that's kind of what I've got planned. Other than that, like I said, I really want it to be reading and filming, really, and creating content by whim. I keep saying I'll do it, and then I don't, and I don't know why. But this weekend, as I mentioned earlier, when I'm in London, I'm hoping to go to a few, well, I was going to say one thing that I really want to do over the next few months is not really buy so many books, because having filmed my September wrap-up, and indeed, I think it was pretty similar for my August and July wrap-ups. Do I mean wrap-ups or hauls? I mean hauls, because I haven't been doing wrap-ups. But for those, I know that my book buying has kind of got out of control. And I think that's something that happens when I'm a bit down or not feeling quite right. I just tend to like buy. And also, it's no bad thing. It's not like I'm, buying anything illegal or going wild on something. Anyway. But yeah, I think buying with intent needs to be something much more at the fore of my spending. But anyway, I did say that, but it's Books My Bag Day in the UK tomorrow as this goes live. They've sent me the new Books My Bag, which is just, that is like autumn in a bag, is it not? It's really lovely. And I am going to try and hit a few independent bookshops in London if I can tomorrow. I've got a list of some books that I would really like to get. Like, I've really thought about it. It's not just going to be by whim. But while I'm on that, I just thought I'd mention that the Books in My Bag Readers Awards are now open, and you can vote for them. They're voted for by bookshops and readers, I believe, and then it's open for all of you lovely lot to vote on too. And they sent me the poetry collection, which is interesting because I'm not that au fait with poetry. And at the moment, I feel like with poetry, I'm like where I was when I got back into reading in my sort of early mid-20s, when I hadn't read for about like 6 or 7 years or whatever. Not picked up a single book, I swear, nothing. And I started with kind of queerish fiction. Well, that's not true. I started with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And then I think I've read, funnily enough, I've spoken about both these authors already, because I've mentioned Rebecca when I was talking about Vera, and also Agatha Christie, because I read The Body in the Library, I think it was, as well as Tess Gerritsen's The Surgeon. And then I went off and sort of read quite a lot of queer fiction because I could see bits of myself in it, or there was a sensibility about it that was kind of, chimed with me in many ways, and then went off to other experiences outside. Not all queer experiences are like mine, obviously, but you know what I mean, went on to different experiences. And I'm doing kind of the same with poetry, and I find that I really love queer poetry, and I can get it. I struggle a bit more with other poetry. And the poetry collection, there's 2 collections and 2 anthologies, and I've read one of them, and it happens to be a queer collection. It's Peter Scapello's Limbic, and it's really good. So that's excited me for the other 3, which are 100 Queer Poems, an anthology by Mary Jean Chan, whose Flesh is one of my favourite collections ever, and Andrew Macmillan, whose Physical is one of my favourite collections ever. So I have very high hopes for this. I've heard Jen talk about this a lot. I think she's in it as well. So yeah, I'm really, really, really looking forward to this one. Then Bless the Daughter, Raised by a Voice in Her Head by Wash and Shire is another collection. I should have said that previous one was an anthology, so that's on there. And then we have The Fire People, which is edited by Lem Cizé, whose My Name is Why? Is that right? I absolutely loved, and yeah, I'm intrigued. There's some poets I know on the back here, like Jackie Kay. I was going to say more, but actually I don't know that many, and obviously Lem himself. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of reading these. And these are a collection of British, Black and Asian poetry. So yeah, really looking forward to these. So I thought I would mention those. I would love to know what you would like to see on the channel. And I know I've said I want to create as and when I want, and me asking that might make you feel like I'm going to put pressure on myself. I'm not. I don't do anything. Oh, that's not true. I'm trying to do less to people please, or please, I don't know, the me inside my brain that pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes me sometimes in a negative way. But I do love to hear what you would like to see on the channel and anything and everything else. So I think it's the end of my lunch break. I think I've got to go and have a meeting with one of my colleagues, the book-loving Maddie, who bought me Stasiland, which is one of the books I'm definitely going to read for non-fiction November. But yeah, other plans, well, I think that's it. Read the book shortlist with Mum and do a video with her on her channel, but also do a vlog on mine. The events with authors that I mentioned, and then it's going to be about whims, although I have been looking at the Goldsmith shortlist, which I think is really good, as is the Giller Prizes. But anyway, and of course, I feel like now, after Annie Ernaux has won the Nobel Prize for Literature, I feel like I really need to read some of her. So isn't it interesting, all the different ways in which we get sort of books adding onto our mental sort of TBRs, buy list, borrow list from the library, etc, 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 etc. On that slightly dramatic and also quite dance choreographer, can't even say choreography, moment, I'm going to go. But yeah, let me know if you would like one of these monthly, and what sort of more detailed stuff you might want in it. Like, do you want to know how many books I've read, how many books I've bought, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that was me chatting about bookish stuff, but possibly far too long. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.